Good evening, everyone. It's just a few hours before the weekend, and it's going to be a fairly long weekend if you have taken an off on Monday. And we are here for yet another Team Talk session. I welcome everyone to the Team Talk, and we intend to address a lot of questions that you've got. And we also would like to see if we can give a lot more clarity on a lot of things that we've been discussing in the past weeks and that have popped up in the previous week. So, to answer the questions, we have Gamer One with us. Hello, Gamer One. Welcome back.
I hope I'm audible. I hope you had a good weekend as well.
Yeah, you're audible, and the weekend was like long ago. The hangover still continues, yes, but I did have a fantastic weekend. So, how was your weekend and your week?
Yeah, the week was good as well as the weekend, and I think we have a longer one this coming uh, weekend.
All right.
Lots of weekends.
Yeah, that's a great thing to hear. Long weekends are a big bliss. So let's not, like get lost in the weekend talk. Let us get into the uh, questions. So like how there is this concept of inception where you have a dream within a dream. You have this challenge of a question about questions. So there have been allegations that uh, there has been a lot of instances of users being timed out when they interrogate our team on certain things. So this, while I understand that this might not be a very normal thing to happen. I really think everyone deserves to know the reason and the mechanism and the pattern that would push people to do something like this. So could you give some clarity on why this is happening?
Yeah. So, CAF, as like everywhere, we have to follow some sort of guidelines. For example, if you are driving on the road, there are some guidelines you need to follow. In case you do not, you might get a ticket, or you might run into an accident. Similar to that, in our Discord as well, we do have a set of community guidelines. And yes, there might be some scenarios where things might get out of hand, and it might overwhelm our mods as well, and they might have to take some steps to make everyone feel comfortable. Uh, Again, like these decisions are very subjective, and there might be scenarios where a few members might not agree with the mod's decision, but at the end of the day, like our mods are, again, just human beings. We are all emotional. And in these scenarios, we are also learning as we go, and we can only do better in such cases.
Thanks
So,
for yep. Yes, Kev. Yes, Game On, go ahead.
yeah, so I said, yeah, we are working on it. We are only humans. So, to err is human, to not is divine.
All right. So I definitely understand the humane side of things, and I'm sure our community would understand that as well. All right. So I believe questioning is fine, but garnishing that question with something that could compromise on the parliamentary nature of communication and conversation, and something that could jeopardize the sanity of our ecosystem or our community, I think they definitely need to uh, be dealt in that kind of fashion. And as you rightly put, our moderators, they have, I think they have quite a vast magnitude of being accommodative when it comes to taking questions, answering them, and doing the needful to ensure that our community stays enlightened, if not happy, right? So it's like it's okay, and I really believe that our community has its own ethics and decorum, and I'm sure they will understand these kind of highly unlikely but very difficult to take at times behavior from the side of the admins and the moderators. All right. So let me get to one of the next question. So this question, I think, is quite basic when it comes to today's world of applications and access. So there have been instances of some account compromises because of social engineering. While social engineering is not something that is completely under our control, what we could possibly do is add an additional layer of security, like a two-factor authentication. So that brings us to a couple of questions. One is how secure is our platform, and the second is there any reason that two-factor authentication has been on hold for quite some time?
So to answer your first question, which is the platform secure? Like I would mention that like we are very secure and your assets are always protected. And also with regards to the 2FA, we are going to be rolling out this feature sometime soon, maybe in the 2 weeks time from now. And this is in the best interest of the community as well, because there has been a lot of doubt around this, and also in line with what's the industry standards. So maybe in 1 or 2 weeks time, like the 2FA will be available on the platform. And the importance of 2FA also needs to be understood, which is you did mention about social engineering. So there is, like if you do have, say your email is compromised, there's a chance for some malicious entity to, access the account that you are, you have other platforms you have accounts with. But if you have a 2FA, it's maybe you have a 2FA authenticator on a different platform. So there's always a chance to limit such kind of social engineering hacks. And also the whole intention behind the 2FA feature is to provide, like stronger protection against such unauthorized access. And also a lot of you guys have been requesting this feature. Like I have seen some users like Goots or even Dash have been asking, like what's the status of 2FA. So I would like you guys to know that, we are developing it on priority, and maybe in 1 or 2 weeks time, you can see it on the platform.
Thank you, Gamer One. Like you said, 2 weeks, right, for the 2FA? Yeah, like just a very surface level thought. It's like a fortnight for fortification. Fine. Anyway, so I think the enthusiasm of our community with respect to 2FA is like really commendable, because 2FA, if for someone who needs to log in really quick, 2FA would be a deterrent. It's like if you prove that it's you again, so that it's that kind of a system. But considering the fact that we are dealing with some really valuable NFTs and uh, something that involves real cash, it's definitely a good practice to have two-factor authentication. And it's a great thing that our community has raised it time and again, and it's a greater thing that it's going to be out in maybe a couple of weeks. So it's a much needed move, and
So
let's
as you
see.
said, like the compilation of small compromises we have to make for the greater good.
You just sounded like a philosopher, but yeah, what you said did make sense. Now, let us talk about the greater good. So, one of the greater good that a lot of people were interested in, especially our community, considering the fact that we are a P2E gaming community. So, there have been a lot of advertisements that talk about $500 rewards, and as a brand, as an organization, we are expected to be ethical and truthful in our advertising. So what is the veracity of that $500 reward that we use in our advertisements?
Yeah, so Cap, we have been doing a lot of marketing campaigns around the game, and also especially we have been experimenting with these performance marketing ads, wherein the messaging is geared towards quicker and smoother user onboarding. And I think some users have come across ads wherein we mentioned that users have earned $5 in a through playing the game, and there is like strong data points that correlate to this. Like in the 50 days that we have like since launch the game, we are happy to mention that we have like some of our users have earned like 50,000 rupees and more. In some cases, some users have even earned revenues crossing $2,000. And this is also like the fact that in the first 2 months since the game's launched in July. Uh, and also like we do have like those data points that back these claims. And as far as advertising goes, you have seen ads of say a toothpaste, or say like if you use Colgate, it makes your teeth whiter, and versus Pepsodent. So like there is some kind of exaggeration over there, but at the end of the day we are able to back those claims. And
Okay.
just like how other platforms do promote it, we are promoting it along those lines.
All right. I think that's a valid point. And as far as I know, advertising ethics is not about a single point, it's about a band, it's about a spectrum. And anywhere within the spectrum, I think any brand is okay to advertise. So it's not a completely false claim, statistically speaking. And yeah, it always makes sense for anyone to advertise with what their most glorious claim could be. And I mean, this is a very standard advertising practice, I believe, for any brand and for any person for that matters. Like nobody would want to portray to the world anything short of the best. And I think it goes in line with that kind of thought. And if it is statistically, provable, it goes well. And yes, so while the advertising statement has been, proved acceptable, to to earn, people need to play. And if they need to play, they will need to be presented with a game that does not have a lot of glitches and bugs that might interfere. So, but contrary to that, there have been a lot of reports and allegations of so many bugs and glitches in the MCL. So, what makes the entire situation a bit more questionable is the lack of uh, completeness in the responses. So, so how are we going to address this? So, when are we going to address this? There are a lot of questions that surround these bugs. So, I think Gamer One, you might have a good idea of what those bugs are, and so if you could throw some light on the bugs, like I know that sounds kind of weird, but yes, if you could throw some light on the bugs and the way you're gonna address them.
Yeah, so we are aware of most of the issues that our users are highlighting in Discord every single day. And even members of our dev team also follow up on these conversations, like during our scrums and the development sprints. And I think like over the past week, some of the issues included. For example, one was like users mentioned that there are some glitches in the camera angles. They've also like added some screenshots around it. So in this case, what happened is the camera angle glitch would occur when the user was batting, and instead of the camera facing behind the batsman, it will face point from the side of the batsman. So it didn't give the user a proper angle through which they can time the shot better, and the team has been able to resolve and fix this issue. And we are going to be rolling out the changes to the camera glitches in a production build soon. And I think another issue that a lot of users have faced is the disconnections occurring during the limited matches. And I can see a lot of you guys have also mentioned in the AMA channel as of now, with regards to the how we distribute points. So in case a user, in case a scenario where your opponent, disconnects legitimately. So what we do is we do award you with 15 leaderboard points for victory. In addition to the runs you might have scored in that match so far. This includes, the extra leaderboard points for the fours and sixes and the wickets that your team has taken. But in case your average match score in that tournament is higher, we would consider that. But I'm still seeing that users are still highlighting that that might not be the case. We are going to look into this more, uh, and we are also working on the leader point structure, as well as bringing in a better solution for the scenario. And once we do, we will give you guys an update. But I would like you guys to know that we have identified the issue, and also trying to understand it from your perspective as well. And I think another common issue that you have flagged is when it comes to the internet connection. So right now, we have figured out that there has to be some changes in how we communicate. In scenarios where you, as a player, might have disconnected instead of the opponent. So there's always, right now in the bottom right corner in such a scenario, we display the message which is waiting for the opponent. Even in scenarios when the problem might have been on your end. So this gives the wrong assumption that even though the opponent did disconnect, even though you did disconnect, you might think that the opponent, it might be the opponent's case. So over here, we are going to be changing that messaging to something that gives the clarity on such a scenario. But also, you have to also make sure that you do have a stable internet connection, because there might also be scenarios where your internet might drop suddenly in between the game. And I think another question that that users have mentioned is when you do click on the 2x and the loft button, there has been no, your input is not taken, so that particular shot is not carried out. We understand that a few users have been, do use BlueStacks or some other emulators like BlueStacks, and this issue is quite rampant over there. So what happens there is, by simply clicking and releasing the loft button will not help. There needs to be a slight drag as well, like click and drag, in order for it to work in the emulators. But also in some devices, we have also identified this issue, wherein there is a timing problem when you tap and release the loft and the 2x buttons. So our team is working on rectifying this issue as well. So apart from this, whatever issues you guys do put out, the team is looking at it. We do have members of our development team as well who follow up on these conversations.
That's one big flurry of questions being answered. Game on. I think it's much to the delight of our community, and I think I noticed KL Rahul, who has acknowledged that the questions were very good so far. So I just want to um, From a
So,
gaming perspective, yes, 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 Gamer
uh,
One, go for it.
like KL Rahul, Diva, like we will, like whatever issues you do mention here as well, we'll be taking a look at it. So, like I think Spartans as well has mentioned that, like his internet has been quite stable. So in these edge cases, like the team will look into it, like because we are actively like trying to like make a stabler build. So as you know, like developing does take some time, and also if you do want like um, like a more stabler build, like that will take some development resources as well.
Thank you, Gamer One. And to add to that, one of the things that could possibly choke the internet availability is if you have too many tabs or too many other apps that consume your bandwidth open. So it might affect the kind of resources that your game gets in terms of bandwidth, in terms of data, everything. All right. So one strong suggestion would be that if there are multiple websites and apps that are open, especially the ones that consume a lot of data, like high definition streaming on platforms like Netflix or Prime. So those things are bound to affect the game connectivity. So one strong urge for the community would be that let us try not to get into that territory, because at the end of the day, what matters is that a good game of cricket, meta cricket, maybe, like how Ravi Shastri puts it. So yes, thank you, Gamer One, for those lovely answers. And I think we this the entire set of questions have been floating around over the past week, and it's great that they've been addressed. And there is one more question that had a major pop, I would say, and just curious, just concerned, however you put it across. There has been a change made to the price distribution mechanism. So, what's behind it, and how is it? I mean, like, what's the funda behind?
So, CAF, like, we are just 2 months into the game, and there's still a lot of experimenting that goes on, both with the type of tournaments that we have. So we have like we have rolled out category only tournaments, which included those rookie arenas and the rookie rare combo tournaments, and as well as we have been featuring this limited match tournaments. And earlier we did have the normal tournaments as well. And in the same way, for each tournament format, like we're also, like playing around with the tournament prize pool distribution. But also, this at the end of the day, like the price distribution, the price pool also gets impacted with factors like, like how much the sponsor is willing to put in for such tournaments. So, like with all that out of the way, as well as, like we need to also take into account the economy. So, like with that in mind, like that's why you might have seen some fluctuations in the price distribution. But, like once we do reach a more, like favorable, like timeline, I think these should be sorted out.
Okay, game over. So it's, I would consider this more of a variant or an experimentation than a challenge or a misgiving. So let's see how this turns out to be, and if we can, diversify into different types of tournaments, or expand the number of tournaments that we have in a day. So all these things could possibly work. So I think now we are going to get into flashback spiral now. So the first one, when are we releasing the web version of the game? I think this makes a lot of sense, because we have been talking about how people use BlueStacks. It's not that people don't want, I mean, it's not that people are intent on using BlueStacks. It's just that, they want a desktop experience. And for what is available now, the only option they can practically think of is to download an emulator and put the game on there. So it would be great to have a native desktop app for the game. So when is it coming out?
So yes, CAF, like we are working on web version of the game, and like the dev team is actively testing out this version. And I think if according to the timelines we have set internally, like it should be available in 3 to 4 weeks time. So this whole move of having like a desktop version for the game is going to benefit everyone, because I think some of our users as of this moment are using emulators like BlueStack to access the game. And also, like when I do say that we are going to be rolling out the web version, it also means that like development is ongoing for the iOS version as well. So like once we reach the timelines for that as well. Like we'll keep you guys updated on the release for the iOS version as well. And as far as the desktop version goes, it will make the game very accessible. So you can run the game from your PC, and I think that should also, given that like PCs do have more computational power, it should relate to a more smoother gameplay as well. And in case like we are planning to do an early access for a sample set of users for the PC version of MCL. And in case any of you guys are interested, that you can ping here, and we will try to give you guys some early access to the PC version.
Okay, okay, Gamer One. Thank you. And it's good that you brought up the iOS version as well, because at least for Android there is some kind of a recourse, like download the emulator, but it's not that easy for the iOS ecosystem. So and if we have to have a game that is omnipresent and omni-compliant, or omni-compatible, I would say, we need all those kinds of things to be brought in as soon as possible. And let's hope the desktop comes first, because uh, gaming, yeah, there is a new dimension of mobile gaming, but to this day you can see that there's a lot of craze for gaming desktops and gaming laptops. So gaming is synonymous with desktop devices, and if we can bring in a desktop version, I think it'll be really great. And that would also reduce the kind of deterrents that hamper the game, because the connectivity is bound to be better, and there will not be any system related lags. All these things would be effectively addressed. So the next question again is something that's been hanging around for a long time. So when is the rental option going to be available in the game?
So regarding the rental, just earlier this week, we were able to run a pilot where we have onboarded a couple of users from different gaming guilds. Through this pilot, we hope to gain some insights on different scenarios when it comes to rental. And overall, like when building a feature like rental itself, it's a multi-layered feature. So it's not something that we can simply build and push it out to our users. And like it's in some scenarios it is easy to say that the development is slow on this app, but if anyone is a programmer here, they will understand that like how much of a long run process it comes to when developing a feature from scratch, as there are a lot of edge cases that we need to like identify and understand and also resolve when developing. For example, one scenario that we came for rental was, like if you have taken NFTs from two different owners, and you have taken them on, like different revenue splits. So then how do we ensure that the users, all the three parties involved here do get, the revenues, the earnings fairly? And similar to this kind of conundrum, we have also encountered, like multiple other scenarios that we have to think through and develop. Um, that said, the development on the rental module is ongoing, but in the meantime, we are running pilots and trying to get some data sets from our collaborations with the guild users. And once we do have a stable rental module, later down the line, we will invite you guys for the early access and then maybe push it for everyone.
All right. Thank you, Gamer One. So I think it needs to be perfected before it is pushed to the community, and the proving grounds are the guilds that we work with. So I think, I mean, I really hope that we'll be able to bring out a perfected and a bug-free and a really stable rental feature for our community. And the feedback of the guilds and the way we collaborate with them should all work for the greater good. So there, now we're going to come back to another question that has been here since the ancient times, considering how old or how young the jump.trade and Meta Cricket League are. So when is the stadium NFT drop going to happen?
Yeah. So I think for some time now, the entire crypto market itself has been fleeting. Like Bitcoin itself has been struggling to maintain its $18,000 floor. And apart from this, there has been a lot of uncertainty and fear in the markets, like with different countries also increasing their interest rates and whatnot. So given the climate, like we think it's not the right time to launch our stadium NFTs and the GL coins because, we do understand a lot of you will be investing, your hard-earned monies into this, and we do want you guys to be impacted by it because, like the success of the stadiums and the coins are interlinked. And most important, another important factor is, like we are working on first building a stable game. And that also means by increasing the number of users we have coming into the game daily. And also, like we do have some issues with the gameplay and we want to smoothen those out as well. So as of now, the team is working on developing, new features, new tournament formats, as well as fixing, the gameplay issues. And but that doesn't mean that like we're moving away from our objectives of the stadium NFTs and the GL coin. It's just that like for now, given the entire like the scenario, they have taken a backseat for now, but like we will be focusing them at a later date.
That's some sound reasoning, I believe, Gamer One. So
Yeah.
I really like the yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, apart from that, there's also, the regulations that also come with, when you do plan to launch a coin. So that as well, the legal aspects of it is as well, which, is we are working on.
All right, so that's a new dimension to consider. But again, anything said, it makes practical sense, I would say, because like what to say, irrespective of the progresses we make, the epicenter of the entire ecosystem lies in the game, right? So once the game has been perfected, I think it makes sense for us to build on the top of it, like stadiums or any other things that we have in mind. And I also believe that it has to be a collective effort. So our community has been doing a fantastic job of raising the right questions, reporting bugs, and telling us what's wrong. So the fact that they're bringing it out is a good thing, and it has led us to pay attention to those features and patch up those leakages. And needless to say, our tech team also has been putting in a lot of effort. And as I think Spartan, he mentioned it that, like the intensity of working that the development team puts in here is like it's quite a lot, and it's not. I mean, leave alone the fact that we are handling a game that has NFTs with certain specific attributes and attached with tradability, all these things like that. Building a game of cricket alone itself is like a very daunting task, to say the least. And the fact that it's all been brought together is really fantastic. And one of the things that could possibly accelerate the stadium creation or stadium NFT heralding is when we have a lot of people getting into the game. So when I think, like, what to say, this again should be the collective effort of the community and the brand jump.trade. So if we could do our best to bring more people and increase the intensity of gaming and the spread of the word, I think it would all contribute to uh, the acceleration of stadium NFTs. So I really hope it materializes soon, because what would distinguish the MCL from anything else is the fact that we are going a notch above what usual cricket would be. And stadium, like, to own a stadium is a big thing, and like, be it in real or be it in the metaverse, it's a big thing. And let us hope to give it to the community as soon as possible. And there's one another question that I think really needs or deserves attention. So there have been very valid allegations that the platform is quite slow when it comes to processing withdrawals. So what's the reason, and like is there anything that could be done to fix it?
Yes, Cap. So we definitely understand the importance of having faster withdrawals, and but until now we were unable to process withdrawals on time, given that we didn't have proper support from our third party providers. But the good news now is we were able to integrate a few payout APIs both for crypto and fiat withdrawals. So what this means is, whenever you do make a withdrawal, we are able to automate it. So we don't have to wait for a third party provider to manually go ahead and assign fill up the ticket for the withdrawals. And this way, once the integration goes live, right now we're still in staging, but once we do push it out to production, we can expect our withdrawals to get faster and also smoother.
Okay. So I think this is one of the key issues that needs to be addressed, because the P2E, the end of the E lies in faster withdrawals. So I really wish it gets sorted really fast. And the what would define the awesomeness of our game is our smoothness of withdrawals and the ease of transactions. And I really believe that the team is doing its best to ensure that things are falling in place and the entire ecosystem functions like a very well oiled machine. So let's come to another question, again a very valid one. So the white paper has promised a lot of aspects that would add to the realness of the game, like things that would make the meta cricket league as close as it can be to real world cricket, like energy, elements, and stamina. And so while there might not be a lot of question on whether or not they would arrive, there would be questions on when they would arrive. So if you could, enlighten us a little bit on the timelines.
So yeah, like if anyone goes through the white paper, they can see that we have mentioned, in production, like in development, some concepts like the energy system, the element system, and the stamina system. So when I speak about the energy system, it's basically it determines how many matches a user can play, and we have linked this to the type and the type of NFT they hold and how many NFTs they hold. So this brings in some kind of strategic variation to how they approach the game. And if some of you guys have played, traditional games like say Farmville or maybe like even casual games like Candy Crush and others, they do have the energy system plays a very important role in these games because they allow the player to play as much as they like and also how frequently they would like to play. So that means like we could soon once once we have like finished the development of this energy system, we can then have longer duration tournaments or like allow you guys to play throughout the day. uh, and on that same note, when we speak of the element system, this is something that is, another important and equally interesting concept. So what we have planned for the elements, we have three different modules here. One is with how well your player can adapt to it. The other one is happenstance, and the third is health. So what these three, when they work in combination, they will bring in this complexity to the game, as well as allow you to personalize the players to your gameplay style. And apart from this, it also brings in some kind of differentiation between NFTs of the same, of the same category, as well as between different categories. And I think a lot of users are asking us, like how is one NFT different from another right now? But when we do have the element system in place, you will be able to, like visibly able to like whenever you do level up or curate, your NFT, you will be able to see some visible difference in, how one particular NFT of a similar type is against another NFT. And as of now, these systems are under development, and like we are working very hard on bringing these varieties to the game very soon.
Thank you, Gamer One. I believe that these are not just varieties, but rather, these embellishments, that little garnish that will differentiate MCL from any other cricket game, and how, as you've said, traditional games, a game that's just about 11 years old, I believe, Farmville, traditional games have this energy element. And if we can bring in those kind of aspects or fine elements that define the game, its thrill and its realism, like as you've said, adaptiveness, health, and morale, which all these things work together in a game. It's not just a game of pure. I mean, it is a game of skill, no questions. But you never know, when your hook shot would find the ropes, or if it would find the third man, or something like that. So um, it's the differentiator, and if we can bring those aspects of the game into what we play, I think the entire MCL ecosystem would become more thrilling, and it would become more lifelike. So those things would definitely add to the appeal of MCL. It's not that MCL lacks appeal, but it would be even better. There's no one who wanted to stop with even the best. There's always a better thing. And so we are almost at the end of the session. And before anything, I want you to see if our community has questions, and if there's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, so I think one question from Spartans was, he's having a stable 100 Mbps Airtel connection, and even then, like it's showing initial matches, like he's getting a good ping at the start, and then in between there's like a drop to 100 Mbps. So in this case, we are looking into the edge cases when it comes to the disconnection due to internet connectivity. The team is looking into it, and I think we will later down the line we will be rolling out some changes to this. I think Hercules is asking, like what is the use case of sci-fi bats? And it seems that we did mention some special use cases. To clarify, Hercules, like like as far as my memory goes, I don't think we did mention any use cases for sci-fi bats in particular. What happened for like how users got the sci-fi bats is, like during the drop, we did have some special NFTs. And then a few days later, whoever got those special NFTs were also eligible to get, an additional loot box. And from that loot box, some of the NFTs that we gave the users were these special bats that includes the sci-fi bats, the insignia bats, and the alien bat. And like the as far as the stats of these bats go, they act at par with other MCL signed bats. So you can refer to the white paper for if your bat does fall under rare, super rare, ultra rare, or even immortal category. So it's listed in the white paper how the bats function. Um, so Wolf DP says, like make sure the users get a few seconds to reconnect. Definitely, we will look into this. Like definitely allow users a few more seconds. Like the team will work on this. Vijay KH says that I use a OnePlus mobile to play the game, and whenever even I use 2x or dual, there are some issues. But like we have found that on some devices there has been some issues, like when you click the 2x or the loft button. So like we are working on it. Um, Also give Sun says also give the joystick ability in the game. If you can elaborate more on the Sun, like definitely like we could consider it if it is practical. Um, Vijay KH says another one, which is a few days ago, like in the eighth match over, opponent left at the time of selecting bowler, waited for 15 minutes. So what happens here is we realize that like in some scenarios our communication is not. We need to change our communication because there might be an instance where the user themselves might have disconnected, but we are displaying in the bottom right corner that waiting for the opponent. When in such a case, we should mention that the user themselves are disconnected. So we are working on making this change with the communication wise. Apart from it, we're also like looking into like what's causing these disconnections. Wolf DP says like as a blockchain P2A game, transparency is key. So how many players participated, rankings, points, and marketplace transactions. So as far as the players participated, I think earlier we used to publish the leaderboards. We are working on automating it. And apart from like the ranking and points of every player, I think a pagination function is in development for the leaderboard where they can like users can navigate to their particular uh, page wherever like they have been ranked in. And Vijay KH asks, like what is token allocation for OG collectors? I think the NFTs that have are eligible for the GL coins. So whichever users own that particular NFTs, like they'll become eligible whenever the GL coin drop goes live. They'll be airdropped some tokens there. Uh, Darsh asks, like we are speaking about early access for rental. So how does IndiGG, like get started with rental? So as I mentioned in the question earlier, like we are doing a pilot with a couple of guilds. IndiGG is one of them. So what we're doing is, like we're using them to gain more data on how, like where we need to improve on the rental system. Right now, we do have a very basic rental system where we are manually onboarding the users. What we want down the line is where, if you do own the NFTs, you should be able to do it, like without our intervention. So we are still at a very early stage right now. Uh, yeah, Hercules also asked over the Play Store launch. So Hercules, we are working on it. Like we did receive some new feedback from the Google team. Apart from it, I did mention that things are looking up for us because Google recently mentioned a one-year pilot for the RMG games. So wherein they will onboard RMG games as a trial for 1 year, and we are looking at this with a positive light, so hopefully things do go well for us. Diwadi, was asking about the 2FA. As I mentioned, in maybe a week's or 2 weeks time, we will be rolling out the 2FA feature. So once that's there, you can use that to further secure your account.
Okay, that's really fantastic. And Gamer One, there is probably something that will need to become the icing on the cake for this team talk session. So, would you like to talk about the Big Mad Winnings contest?
Yeah, so I would finally like to give a shout out for the Big Mac Winnings contest. So as you guys know, the contest will run until 14th October, which is a Friday, 6 p.m. And in this contest, we're giving away a lot of exciting prizes like the BMW T310R standard motorcycle, an iPhone 14, as well as the PlayStation 5, and so many other exciting prizes. And we're going to be selecting at the end of this contest. We're going to be selecting 100 winners randomly. And if you plan to do enter the contest, all you need to do is purchase one batsman NFT and one bowler NFT. It doesn't have to, you don't have to make the purchase at the same time. You can purchase one NFT today and then maybe down the line another later, but within the contest period. And with that, you're in the contest.
All right. I think that was a much needed finish for the Team Talk session. Thank you, Gamer One, for answering the questions. And thank you, dear community, for bringing the questions. And like anything said, the kind of questions you ask, they really, prompt and prod the team to think and work out solutions. And I really believe that the community will definitely keep this constructive feedback coming, and they will definitely not resort to anything that might be considered even remotely questionable in terms of communication. And with this kind of flair and with this kind of enthusiasm, I think MCL is all set to grow bigger and better. And this has been a really wonderful team talk, and I hope the community had a lot of questions answered. And let us keep them coming, and let's meet again during the next week's Team Talk session. Until then, have a great week, have a great weekend, and happy Vijayadashmi or Dasara or however you celebrate it over the course of the week. And for those who are taking that Monday off, wishing you a fantastic long weekend. Thank you, everyone, and have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.